You are listening to Pivot Parenting, episode 191, Fix It Energy in Parenting. Welcome to Pivot Parenting, the place where we recognize when your parental role needs to shift and how to do it. I'm your host and parenting expert, Heather Frazier. Hello there. How's your day going? Today's episode is brought to you by my super exciting book called How I Fixed My Teen. You may have heard me talk about it just a little bit here or on social media, or if you get my midweek tweak emails where I send out just a little tweak to make in the middle of the week for you to implement, because we all know that little changes are how big changes occur. So midweek tweak's an amazing way to get a little bit of extra help, because I just send out a tiny little thing that's easy to adjust, that when you do them all over time, they add up to a big change. But guess what? My book, How I Fixed My Teen, is like a memoir meets self-help. I include journal entries of mine that are extremely personal, and I talk about me and my guinea pig child, where I had to learn how to be a big girl parent. And I teach you all the 9 steps to becoming and having the relationship that you want to have with your teenager. And it's going to publish in January of 2024. This week, my webpage should be up to pre-order it. I thought it would be up by now. It's not. I'm sorry if you've gone to my website to check it out, but come end of November, beginning of December, it will be up and you can pre-order it. And guess what? Because I know that you love hearing my voice. One time my daughter told me that sometimes she listens to my podcast because my voice is so soothing that then she goes to sleep, which is super sweet, but also funny. So if my voice doesn't put you to sleep, but you like the sound of it and you like books being read to you, a lot of times I like an audiobook because I'm driving or multitasking. To me, sitting down and reading is kind of a luxury that sometimes I don't afford myself. We'll get to that in just a minute. But if you pre-order before it's published, so this year, then you're going to get me reading it for free as soon as it's available. So you'll get the audio version before I mail you the hard copy. And yes, the book will be available on Amazon and different carriers like that. But if you order it from my website, then I'm actually shipping you the book, and I will sign the book. If you do like 8 or more books for a book club, then I will maybe include some fun stuff there. And so I live in the state of Utah, but I travel around sometimes. And if you buy books for your book club, I have this crazy vision. Do you guys ever see fun things in the future in your mind's eye? I have this idea of you and I with your book club sitting down, having a good time, you and your friends asking questions, and we have heart-to-heart conversations about how wonderful and terrible parenting is all at once, and how our kids are wonderful and push us in our very most tender spots sometimes. So I have this vision of you and I at your book club, and I want to come to it. Seriously, I do. So if you order 8 or more books for, say, a book club, I may just have a little note in there for you as well. So my website's the best place to get it, or you can get it at Amazon or any of those other shopping providers. And I will make that more known as it comes out. But my book is perfect for gifts, for New Year's resolution, if you have some parenting goals. Again, I share my story and the 9 key strategies to feel better as a parent and help your kid. So head to heatherfrazier.com later this weekend to pre-order your copies. But let's talk about fixing, because a lot of potential clients, did you guys know I do free consults? You can book a little snippet of time with me for free because I love to meet parents and help where I can help and potentially talk about what's going on with you and working together. And so many people come on these calls and they say things like, I just want my kid to like me, or I just need them to confide in me, or I need them to actually care and do stuff like homework or chores, or I need them to break up with their girlfriend, or other things like this. They want to fix what is going on. They want their kid to change somehow. They want to be able to fix them to come out of their dark room on occasion and maybe shower. They want to fix their attitude. They want to fix their habits. They want to fix their likes and dislikes. And here's the secret, just between you and I. Fix-it energy, that attitude of approaching something like it's a problem to be fixed, isn't the best approach to your kids most of the time. It's super helpful when the hot water heater is broken, or the car, or your leg. When something's broken, let's fix it. Not helpful when we're wanting our kids or our spouse to be different. So this can sound like, again, I've heard clients say these things. How do I get them to do chores without a fight? Put their shoes away, do homework. How do I get them to tell the truth? How do I get them to like being around our family, to stop vaping, sexting, porn, weed, sneaking around? How do I get them to go to bed on time? How do I get them to follow the rules? These are all fix-it problems because there's an undercurrent of my kid is the problem, or my kid is making problem choices. He's causing the problem. We think there's a problem to be fixed. When we think that happiness, peace of mind, live beyond fixing whatever we're disliking, and that happiness or peace of mind can't be where we are until it's fixed, problems happen. This generally makes us graspy, impatient, snappy, passive-aggressive, controlling, emotionally needy, exhausted, or we just numb out and stop caring because nothing works. There's something wrong with them or the situation is essentially how we're viewing our child. And why they may not be able to articulate it quite so pretty, nobody likes to be the project. I promise. It's not fun. They feel the energy, and it's never a good thing. I just want to pause for a second. Sometimes we'll do this in a sneaky, sideways kind of direction. So you may be thinking, oh, I totally don't do that. I'm like so on point. And that could be true, but let me ask you this. If you think this isn't you because you play nice, you think you're cool with whatever's going on, you give them leeway, but then an hour, a day, a week, a month, 6 months, a year down the road, you get impatient when things don't move along how you want them to. This can present like, I love your friends, have them over. But it's because you don't like their friends and you want to keep close tabs. But they're not shaking off those friends. And so you might like start pointing out all the flaws of the friends or being rude to them when they come over. It can also present like saying you understand where they're at in their school, but then even though you know that they have missing assignments, but you freak out when a teacher or administrator reaches out to go over issues or struggles. It's playing it cool when they don't want to go to church, but then being unhappy when they don't go on a mission or they come home early or they don't embrace your family religion when they move out. It's us secretly hanging on to them, seeing the light and switching to our point of view because we've been so pleasant, and surely they'll eventually get it. Does this sound familiar? It's much prettier than just being overtly like fix-it energy, but it's still the same kind of vibe. Now, I'm not saying that you can't hope for them to love your political party, church, family values, work ethic, but it's hanging your hat on them liking it, being it. It's fake being chill, but wanting for them to come around before you really actually feel okay with them and the direction that their life is going. Does that make sense? It's looking outward to feel better, but the issue is internal. It's within us, meaning fix-it energy is focused on what is seen to control our amount of peace and happiness. And this isn't the case. It's not what our kid is choosing that creates peace and happiness for us, I promise. Now, sure, their choices can definitely make it easier or harder, and not in every situation do we want to feel happy. But peace is always available to us when we look inward. Sure, it's easy, again, when you've got a kid doing all the right things. But this doesn't happen very often, and it's not really sustainable because we're all human and we're here to learn and figure things out. None of us are perfect. And certainly not in the opinions of all the people observing us with all of their varying ways of doing things. You could ask 50 bajillion moms the best way to clean a house or run carpool or help kids with homework or do any of those things, and you're going to have a lot of varying opinions. So we can't be quote unquote perfect for everybody. And we wouldn't want to be, because then our personalities and preferences would disappear. So instead of looking around to see if your kid or you are okay, what needs to be fixed, you can just relax and look inward. Let me tell you a little story. A couple years ago, I had a pain coach. She even came on the podcast and talked about pain. Her name is Betsy Jensen. She's awesome. When I was coaching with her, because I have a bulging disc in my back and a little tear, and I was in pain probably 80% of my day for several years. So I decided to work with a pain coach. She's awesome. So she went over the 4 ways that our nervous system can be dysregulated: fight, flight, freeze, and a new one called fawn, which is kind of like people pleasing to not rock the boat. And then she went over how each of these look in real time. So fight doesn't always mean swinging a fist, and flight doesn't mean you're always running from a bear. I'll get to that in just a second. After she kind of went over what those look like in actual life, she said these are not personality traits. These are dysregulated nervous systems. And dysregulated nervous systems contribute to your chronic pain. You guys, my friend, I sat and cried when she went over what flight looks like. I had always thought fight was fighting back and flight was running, which is true, but it is so much more. She described my day like to a T, running from problem to problem, fire to fire, putting out fires that weren't mine, feeling like I was responsible to keep everybody happy and safe, not feeling like I could relax in the evening with my family because my to-do list wasn't done, which, like, are you like me? Your to-do list actually just breeds overnight and you can never actually get to the bottom of it. Like, to-do lists just are always there. That's flight. Loving almost needing accomplishment to prove my value, needing my kids to be how I thought they should be, trying to manage everything all pretty and perfect. That's flight. So I went on a little journey to find out who I was without those personality traits of being in flight all the time. Who was I with a calm, regulated nervous system? I'm going to be honest, it was tricky. I had to very consciously talk myself out of just working myself until I fell into bed every single night to be able to disconnect from my to-do list and just go spend time with my kids, doing whatever, not being productive. If you think that you have to be productive all the time, you are in fix-it energy, you are in flight. The good news is, I learned that I'm way more fun and wise and relaxed and helpful when I'm not in flight. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't still have a to-do list. I do. But the urgency and the need is gone most of the time. Sometimes it still gets me. And so is my chronic pain, ironically. But I do regulation exercises all the time with my clients because now I can see it in them as well. And when we can bring our nervous system into a state of calm, that fix-it energy tends to subside and we can actually be more calm and supportive and show up for our kids with better energy and momentum than thinking that the house is on fire. So when you feel urgency, when literally there is no fire, like it's just laundry or getting a few errands done, that is a less helpful fuel to help your kid. So we want to come back to earth and out of the frantic fix-it to be a wise mentor and parent. And there is actually very little to fix when it comes to our kids. Some things that we may want to fix are miscommunications, illnesses, whether that's mental, physical, emotional. Those are things that we want to help them work through, right? Like if they have an infection, they need an antibiotic. If they have anxiety, we need to get that diagnosed and get them the help so that they can learn coping skills for that. But for the most part, there's literally nothing to fix. We just need to be examples, lessons to teach and to live for our kids to see and give them lots of love and understanding and safety and support. We need to advocate for them and love them and teach them how to be quality adults if they want those lessons. Some kids like them, some kids don't. But we're there to offer that for them. There's nothing to fix. There's no urgency. It's just loving patience. What do you think about that? Okay, I'm going to wrap up. But before I go, I'm seriously so excited for my book. And so I wanted to include another little teaser for you. You really are going to want to order one for you and for your friends, sisters, all the people. Okay, you ready? This is the first couple chapters, and I tell the story of my first kiss, which was not a good experience. So here we go. Flashback to my sweet age of 16. There was this guy I liked. We'll call him Rodeo. Did you know I grew up in southern Idaho, southeastern Idaho? Everybody had farms and horses. His friend liked my friend, and so we would often run into each other around town and at school functions. One fateful evening, my friend told me that we were invited to a party and Rodeo would be there. I was pumped. I wanted to see him, even though I never actually had the guts to really talk to him when we were together. We just exchange awkward glances at each other from across the room or slow dance at the after-game stomp dance in silence. As the day drew on, every instinct in my body was telling me not to go. But the good friend that I was, I knew that she wanted to go, and part of me wanted to see him and be awkward and oogle him. So I went. There was not a party. The whole house was dark as we pulled into the drive. Again, every cell in my body was screaming to the point of me feeling nauseous. But I'd committed, and it's not polite to back out and disappoint your friend or a cute boy. This is me full-on self-abandoning, but I wouldn't realize this for a few more decades. After all, it's my job to be nice, keep others happy. Okay, end quote of my book. Question: how does my tragic first kiss, which I finished telling, if you read on in the book, tie into parenting your teen? Let me assure you, it does. And I'm going to tell you how that ends. It doesn't end very nicely. Not super tragically, but just also not very nicely. But it ties together with parenting, and I want you to know exactly how. So go grab my book. I will take you from the fix-it approach of parenting to one that actually works and feels amazing to you and your family. It really is a special kind of magic. I'm so excited for you to read my book. In the meantime, I want you to start paying attention to when you are approaching your teen as something to fix or someone to love, because we want to be in loving energy more than fix-it energy. I promise your kid can feel it, and it really does make a difference. You guys, until next week, have a good one.
Heather is the one, an expert in the field. She knows her parenting stuff, including how confusing it can be. You've tried it all, and it's a lost cause. Crying in the closet 'cause you failed.